I saw the Jacksons and they were pretty good. But let's get back to Debbie because she's right up there with the Jacksons.
That's right. So when people come into your office, they're in pain. And Dr. Debbie, you give them change to live a different life and live it the best. So, Dr. Debbie.
Yes.
JR here has a story to share with you.
Okay.
Because he has been doing things that he doesn't usually do and it's out of his normal routine.
Okay.
So I...
That sounds scary.
It does. I'm hearing, you can see, listeners, if you could see Dr. Debbie's face, she's going, oh, what am I going to hear? JR.
Yep.
Okay, Debbie, because this is what's happened. My darling wife, we're just selling her house, so we're giving it a bit of a reno and makeover.
Okay, yes.
I haven't done any hard work for a long, long time, since back in the middle of the last century.
Yes.
And I just found one day I'm running up and down ladders, we're painting ceilings, we're cleaning tiles and down on my knees.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, I was absolutely exhausted and my back was aching. I had parts of my body that I'd forgotten about. that were seriously aching and I was so exhausted. Now, is this normal for a young fella like me?
For a young fella like you, I don't like the word normal because it isn't normal.
I've never been normal.
Is it common? Yes. Is it normal? No. So I think that the fact that you haven't been doing a lot of, I suppose, physical activity that requires like repetitive use over time, then that's going to make you sore. That's going to make you tired as well.
This is what happened. It sounds very simple. We got a carport, high ceilings, and there's a whole lot of cobwebs up there.
Yes.
Cobwebs.
Webs.
Yeah, they're on
Cobwebs.
the web. And I thought this will be pretty simple. So I've got a big long broom.
Yes.
And I'm running up and down just getting rid of cobwebs. And my arms are like stretched out above my head. And it killed me.
Yep.
Yet it wasn't physically hard.
No.
But, I've just pulled my back out. Seriously. Listeners, I was just showing her what I've done and I've just pulled my back out.
You need a go gadget arms.
I need a chocolate.
You go straight to chocolate.
So how
Too much chocolate.
Something so simple as just getting rid of cobwebs can muck it up.
Yeah, absolutely. What happens is that the body is conditioned from the things that you've done since you were born, basically. So you were conditioned when you were younger, and when you were in school to where you are now. So what you've done in the past, when you were young, fit and healthy, it was compared to where you are now is a lot different.
Thanks a lot. She's looking at me like I'm going to be in a wheelchair.
No, nothing like that.
I wasn't doing that. You explained it, that you hadn't done anything in a long time.
If you haven't done let's say a lot of physical work in the last decade, then when you're suddenly moving in those positions that you haven't moved in a long time, your body will go into spasm. So
that's what it was.
Yeah. So it's not used to it. So your brain's telling you what's this? You haven't done this in a while, and you haven't done any warm up, anything leading up to it. So it protects you, and it will protect you by spasming. So
I didn't warm up.
No. Or it would have been a cold day. Sometimes that happens as well. And usually what we recommend is that if it's something that you have to elongate your body, so whether it's like reaching out to something, try and shorten that. So whether that's using a ladder, bringing yourself closer, so then you using your more warmed up muscles, then using the muscles and stretching them out in positions they weren't used to.
Because that's true, because it really blew me away, because I thought something so simple, why did it hit me so hard? But I didn't warm up.
Yeah.
And it was a cold day, so maybe... Should I rub some hot, juicy stuff on it? What do they call it?
Voltaren. Or what other stuff's out there?
There's some natural ones.
Natural ones?
Yeah, like things that are arnica-based, tea tree or eucalyptus oil, things
physio?
like that.
Isn't there one called something physio or something? It's a purple container.
Yeah,
it's
physio cream. That's probably that's a nice one as well.
Yeah, I
that
like
nailed it. When you told me I didn't warm up, that really hit it then, because I went straight from being unworking for 20 years. Yeah. And then doing a hard day's yakka, it really got me. So So I need to look after myself.
It took you probably 2 days to recover or something.
It did. I still haven't recovered.
No, but then again, that comes back to now that knowing something like that has happened, Dr. Debbie, treatment is important, because if JR doesn't get treated, and he will be like majority of the people, they just go, that's all right, I've just done a hard day, she'll be right, and I'll let it go. But letting it go over time it'll hurt even more. Or if he goes and does something that's out of the ordinary again for him, he could actually hurt himself even more. Is that right?
Yeah. So, I mean, like, let's just clear it out of the way. There's a small percentage of people that will get better. They'll just have a rest. They'll go and sleep it off, and then they'll just be like, I'll feel good again. What we find is that as time goes on, that becomes less and less and less. So you could get away with it, like when you're 18, and you could go clubbing till 3 a.m. into the morning, and you'll be right the next day to work at like 6 a.m.
I can't do that anymore.
But our bodies aren't able to metabolize as fast. Yeah, it changes.
So I do need to let you know that I am over 18.
Oh, good. I don't need to check your ID. Great. But back to the original question, which was basically like, what do you do once these incidents happen?
Because that could get worse if you don't, potentially, in essence, treat it.
So sometimes what happens is that you predisposition yourself for potential risk factors or things. Like if you want to do, let's say you just cleaned out the house or cleaned out the garage, and then you've got something else to do, a clean out again. That means that you're putting your body into that position, but you're already in pain. Or like set yourself up. So you could just even drop a pen on the floor, pick it up, and that might just even flare it off even worse. So it's always good to get it checked, see what's going on. If there's anything to be done, treat it, nip it on the bud, get it sorted out sooner than later, because usually it does build up over time.
Great, thank you, because I will warm up next time.
Good.
So Lisa, if you call me up and say, I've got some cobwebs, I want you to come and clean, I'm not coming.
No, you're funny.
Just go along the stick.
And I think that, and I think there's a lesson here that we all need to learn and really think about. Again, we talk about being wise with our words. Maybe it's also it's about being wise about how we think as well. If we've injured, we have done something to ourselves. Yes, we've got the Voltaren, or we've got some creams that can support us. We can do the stretching, but maybe it is time that we also go ahead and go, well, something's happened now, let's treat ourselves. We need to get that treated and looked after, because it's like anything. We need to manage that pain so that it doesn't get worse further down the track. And I think, that's a treatment.
Because there's a lot of people now who just sit in front of a computer all day.
Yeah.
And then on the weekends, they go and play sports. So it's going from one extreme to the other, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh, well, what about Dr. Debbie then? If, you have a patient, and I'm guaranteeing you could count on more than both of your hands how many patients you get walking in saying, you know what, my work has me sitting at my desk most of the day. I'm at the computer. I sort of go home. I go get dinner. I'm up a little bit. And then, all I want to do is just, watch some, I don't know, what Netflix say. Then I go get some sleep. And then when I wake up the next morning, man, my back, my shoulders, I'm all stiff and I'm so sore, and then I get up and do it again.
Yeah.
You
do that 5 times a week.
Yeah, what are we doing to our bodies by doing that?
Well, basically, like with the advancement of technology, that we're accommodating our bodies to technology instead of technology accommodating to our bodies. So we're going towards the computers, to devices, things like that, and then I suppose we inherently are lazy, so we don't want to be in good posture.
Yeah.
So
because you look at it now, we actually binge watch everything. I've just watched a binge watched series. Instead of taking weeks to watch it, we bowled it over 2 nights.
Yep. So you've done it over 2 nights means that you probably have a lack of sleep. Instead of you going to bed at your normal time, that you're going a bit later. You're already stimulated as well, so you don't have that downtime. And then when we sleep is when we recover ourselves. So it means that you will feel tired and more sore and achy in the morning.
Well, it's really my wife's fault, because Jenny likes to watch Suits. And she loves Harvey, and I got to sit and then watch it all.
There we go.
So what are we really doing to our bodies then? Like, by sitting down or consistently and not. I'm already guessing it's a stretching that supports us and help us, but what else are we doing to our bodies?
Yeah, so we're just putting ourselves in poor positioning that the brain starts thinking that's normal. So instead of sitting in your normal tall spine, that we sit into like a C-shaped curve. So if you looked on someone on their side view, they're just kind of slumped over in that kind of position. So what happens is that when that happens is that your body weight and it distributes unevenly, and there's a lot of pressure through the low back and the mid back and the neck at that point. So then you get a lot of symptoms. So people come in with low back pain going, oh, well, it doesn't hurt when I sit, but it hurts when I sit for a long time. Or I can't sit in the computer for as long as I used to. We usually hear like terms like that where the body starts giving up a little bit and starts recruiting other things or other ligament muscles. And from there they just feel like, it's not going away. Why is that not going away?
That's right. It's consistent pain. Consistent.
I like that C when you explain it like a C, because we're crouched over now, and if you're driving, your back's really in a C shape most of the time, isn't it?
Yeah, you rarely see anyone that's driving that will have their head hitting up on the headrest.
That's true.
Is that why you drive the combi?
That's why I drive the combi.
Combi's not going away, is it? No.
Well, that's a more upright position.
It is.
So what would a chiro? So how could a chiro help? What would be that sort of treatment that you would offer on that?
Well, we'll have a look at what's going on. Let's use the example of low back pain. And get that area moving better again, because usually it's jammed up because it's been stuck in that position. You might be not even sitting evenly. Lots of people, when they sit and watch TV, they're usually on an angle.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they'll kick their feet up onto the sofa, or they'll bring their feet in towards their bottom, so they'll lean on one side. So they're in this constant position, and then if they're watching and binge watching for a few hours, that's a few hours in that position. So when what's the original question?
No, it was
what we do as a treatment.
Yeah.
Yes. So when we come in, we'll look at what's going on, obviously give some advice, going, look, maybe this isn't the right thing for you. Keep more neutral, see which areas are more effective. Let's say it's more left side. Let's give you some exercise to stretch out your right side and left side just to balance you back into normal position.
And then you do and I always remember you doing certain things when you're doing your chiro, and you do your certain movements in that treatment.
Yeah, just to open up the joints again. We use some tools. Sometimes it's just manual, so a bit of like joint manipulation, where that's soft tissue therapy, and then reinforcing with advice and exercise on top of that.
And see, they're the sort of things, JR, that would work for you. It just opens up your body. And I think maybe that's the key thing, is that our bodies can get so sore that we forget that we just need to loosen our bodies. And to loosen our bodies could be one way that, Dr. Debbie and other chiros could also help out. But before we do go, there is one thing that I do want to share with our listeners, because Dr. Debbie, I spoke to you earlier, and not only can you help the patients in a clinic, but you can also support them in the workplace. Can you share with our listeners like what a chiro or what yourself, Dr. Debbie, could do to help their treatment within their workplace? Because I'm really impressed with this one.
Well, with our clinic and some other chiropractors, you can actually ask them to come into your office to do a workplace assessment, whether that's at their desk or, at their station, and have a look at how their body, their weight, their height is orientated to their desk or their workstation. So we can go in, have a look, we'll call it an ergonomic assessment, and then from there we can give advice. Or if we can't get in there, we can also offer advice. So we can write letters to their workplace and be like, look, this is what we're seeing from Joe Bloggs. He's getting a bit of pain. We think it might be work related. He might benefit from, say, a standing desk instead of a seated one.
Wow. I like those standing desks.
Yeah, they are really good. Well, see, that's something I would never have thought that you would ever do. I'd only think to come to you to do some chiroing and help me and go treatments over time, but I would never have thought that you could help me in the workplace as well. So there you go. So listeners out there, there you go. Go check out, the standing desk, but also you got opportunity to your chiro can just also help you out as well when you're in pain, to help you out in your workplace as well, because that also does help as well. Lastly, Debbie, how can our listeners connect with you if they want to find out more?
They can find me at Bateman Chiropractic, so we're available at batemanchiropractic.com.au, and just give us a call and we can always help them along.
So that's a website or Facebook?
Website, Facebook, Bateman Chiropractic will come up.
Bateman Chiropractic.
Yeah,
okay.
Dr. Debbie Tan. Thank you
Thank you
for sharing your wise words. Listeners, you've learned something new and it's your choice. Do further research, get further professional advice to find out the right information for you and your needs. Dr. Debbie, it was an absolute pleasure to have you on our show, and thank you for joining us here on 89.7 FM. We look forward to have you back. Bye, Debbie. Bye.
See you, Deb.
Bye.